Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Soaping with Sandra, Outside the Box Soaps. Today I'm going to be making a batch and I have some embeds. I'm going to be doing some piping, so got a lot of work to do here. So this is going to be fragranced with Jamaica Me Crazy, which is a fragrance from Nature's Garden Candles. And I'm going to be using 4 different colors aside from my main base color. So in my bowl I have sweet almond, avocado, castor, coconut, olive, rice bran, shea butter. I've also added some silk. I'm using sodium lactate, and I'm going to add some kaolin clay and some goat milk powder as well. The clay is really because I've seen that it helps with keeping the fragrance stable. I had a bar that just completely lost its fragrance and it just drove me crazy. It was very strong in the beginning and it just went kaput. I don't know how, why, or when, but it did. So since then I've been using kaolin clay because that is supposed to help with the problem of fragrance loss. So let's get started. Everything is at about 70, 75, 78 or so. And I think we're ready to get rolling. So I did have my strainer here just a sec ago. And now it's gone. So let me get my strainer. Okay, so strainer's here, ready to rock and roll. Get my lye water out of the ice bath here. And let's get started. So, I'm hoping that this will be a nice design. I've had to do a bunch of the same thing for some favors. And gets a little monotonous, so hoping now that I can do something a little different with this batch, and we'll see how it goes. So since I'm swirling, I don't want to do a whole lot of beating and blending. Just sort of do enough here to get emulsified. And get all the oils together. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to add my kaolin clay, adding a scoop of goat milk powder to the mix, and get that all incorporated. And again, I really don't want to overblend this. I want to keep it nice and loose because I do have some coloring to do, and I want to do, I'm going to do a hanger swirl with some bright colors that kind of remind me of Jamaica, since that's the sort of the theme for the fragrance. So a couple more pulses. And I think this is ready to get rolling here. I don't want to end up having it accelerate. Don't know how the fragrance oil is going to work. Never used it before, but we will find out. So we've got a pretty blue here. I've got an orange, reddish orange. And I'm filling these up a little higher than what I plan to add because I do want to do some piping, and I'm going to try to put some color into the piping as well. So there's a yellow. And then here's green. And my embeds are limes and oranges. Okay, so let's get the color mixed up. And I'm not going to stick blend it again. I'm trying to keep that to a minimum with this. So let me just pause you while I get these all stirred up. And okay, so I've just done some more stirring in my main bowl. The cups are thickening up a bit more. Actually, I'm not sure whether it's really ready at this point or not, but we're gonna just give it a shot anyway and see how it goes. So let me do some pounding. And then I think I'm going to start with my green. And this is such a pretty color. I don't know that it's getting picked up on the camera. It's sort of like an olive green, but it's a very shimmery mica. So, all right, so let's try just some real thin lines of this. Okay, next I'm going to go to the yellow. And I can see it's going to be a mess here with putting these spoons down. Just drizzle some yellow around. Alright, then we'll go with our blue. And this too is a nice, pretty, shimmery blue. It's like a sky blue color. I really like it. Let's try to keep these very thin pores, thin and wispy. Because it looks like I actually could have made a little more white, and too late now. Alright. So I will figure something out about piping. And this last one is the orange. Just add some of that in here as well. And again, going for those thin lines. So now I'm going to just bang it down again. Try my best to get all those air bubbles up. And then I'm going to do this hanger thing. I think it's a little thin, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to go up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, and try to get those middle ones that I skipped. Alright, I'm just going to do some circles. Some circles. I hope it doesn't all muddle, which it may. But that's okay. I think it will be a pretty soap, because I really like these colors for this fragrance. Okay, so let's see. Maybe we can get some of this just flat on the top. I know there's not all that much left of it, but yeah, it seems to be working. Got a little bit thicker. Seems like I can just sort of pour it on top. Okay. All right, now I'm going to do another round of pouring, but I'm not going to go real high this time. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit closer to the surface. It's a big experiment, guys. Okay, I think I did green, and I did some yellow. Okay, do some blue. That's a lot of blue. But it's not plopping yet, so I'm not complaining. Okay, now we've got some orange. See what we get here. All right, so let's do another pound down. All right, so I'm trying to do that gently. Don't want to have all the colors jumping up, and I see a little bit of that going on. So I'm going to grab my hanger again, and this time I'm not going down very far at all. I just want to try to get into that second white layer that I did. Doing some circles underneath, and it looks like I hit the white because it's coming up. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do I want to pipe with the rest? Interesting. So my top pieces are this lime, lemon green, and an orange. So let me take a minute and think about how I want to get it. But if you want to see it so far, here's what we've got. We don't know what it looks like in the middle. It's anybody's guess. But it does look islandy, so I will take it. Okay, I will be back when I have a better idea of where I'm going next. Okay, folks, I'm back, and I have made quite the mess. So, what I tried to do was to quickly put together another batch of white and to try and use that as a piping tool. But we're not going to be doing any piping today because I was doing it quickly. I was trying to thicken it up so it would stick, it would pipe, and I just went a little bit overboard, so it just all froze up, and I was able to get just a layer on there before that happened. Tried to fill the piping bag and it just wouldn't come out. So anyway, we still have our colors. although I did plop a whole lot of them into the icing bag, and they are now in the garbage, which is where it belongs at this point. But I'm gonna take what's left here and see what I can do with some sort of nice top on here, and then try to use my embeds that I had planned on using. Okay, so sometimes things don't go the way we plan, so we just adapt and change our plan, right? All right, so here's my orangey color. Try to get some of that into the corners. Well, it will be very colorful, that's for sure. Because a lot of the white that I was planning to use is what sort of froze up. So I'm just going to recycle this stuff that's here on top of my freezer paper. Okay, although I do have a good amount of yellow left. So, let's see if we can get that in here. Again, these corners, they drive me crazy. They Jamaica me crazy. Alright. So, I'm going to just clean out the yellow, and I'm going to do something with this to kind of blend the colors together, since they're all sort of laying just right on the top. Get a little bit of interest going with some kind of design. So let's see, I don't know if a spoon will be the answer, possibly. And in this process, I've also messed up my nice little marks that I'd made on the side so I would know where to place my embeds. But I think I can make it out. So we'll see. So if messiness makes you crazy, you've probably stopped watching by now, because it is one big mess. But I did want to come back and do something with it before all the colors that are still pliable became not pliable. So let me grab some towels and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're a little bit cleaner now. Still got a mess, but... And I'm just thinking that my plan may have worked if I had not just stick blended that batter to death and just let it sit. It probably would have not accelerated and froze up so quickly. But live and learn. I thought it was a good idea at the time. You know how that goes. Okay, so got some more green here. And I just, it's not going the way it did in my mind's eye, but because I really wasn't looking for a real busy soap. But that's what we got, so we'll see what we can do now. Alright, so let me get something here, a spoon or something, and see what I can do. I think first I'm going to just try to get some of this leveled out a bit. Leveled out and also combined to get some of these colors mixed up. Because there's, don't like that, there's a big lump of something in here, which I'm taking out. Don't know what that is. It's the soap that got frozen. Alright, so we got a little something going on here, something. And I can see my marks again. So I'm gonna just give this a little pound in case there are any bubbles. Now let's grab a spoon. This should be thick enough to do some spoon stuff with. And if I can get some little peaks that will stay, then I will be able to place my embeds, hopefully. And for some reason it's just not working out for me today. This almost looks like it's not even thick enough. Doesn't seem to be holding the peaks that I'm trying to make here. So it will be interesting to see what happens in the end here. So if you're still with me, let's get out some embeds and see what they do to add or detract from this thing here. Okay, so I've got little lemony lime kinds of things here. So let's see. We've got, maybe we can just float that on top here. And then I've got some oranges. And both have been, of course, in pudding glitter. So let's see, we can push them in a little bit so they have at least a slight chance of staying in place. If I can't get the rest of it to cooperate, maybe I can get the embeds to look good. Alright, there's... And this is pretty boring, I'm sure, for you to sit and watch me place these. So I'm gonna pause you and come back when I've got them all done. Okay, so I am back with this disaster for the day. Not looking like a happy soap to me, but you never know. I mean, sometimes you think they're major disasters, and lo and behold, when it comes out, it's just not the case. So I think my one finishing touch, even though there's already some glitter on the pieces that are in here, I'm going to be adding some other glitters to it. So this is a marigold yellow. So we'll put a little bit of that and jazz it up if I can. Okay, so there's that one. Then I have a red orange. And these are really fine. These are actually cosmetic glitters, nail glitters, so they're they're very fine, so they can't go through the T-ball because they just fly right out of the T-ball. I've seen people have those little, some little shaker bottles, squeezy bottles, but I haven't been able to find those. So instead, I'm using the good old reliable hand finger method, which always gets the job done. And this is a nice little white fairy dust kind. It's very pretty, very sparkly. And also very fine. So we got enough of that. And then I do have some blue, which I have not used. And it kind of looks like the blue that's in the soap. So I think I'm going to use this instead of the darker one. I have a Caribbean blue glitter, which comes from Wholesale Supplies. But I think I'm going to try this blue instead. Because right now, I don't know if the colors are going to change as this cures, but right now, this looks pretty close to the blue that's in the soap. Okay, so that's about it, folks. And I did see a tip. Now I wish I could remember where, but on one of the videos I watched, I saw someone using tape across to avoid that bulge, and that bulge really irritates me. So the last thing I'm going to do is just get a piece of tape and put it right across here. Then I'm going to wait for this to set up, and I will post pictures so you can get to see what the finished disaster looks like close up. But here's how it looks at the moment. We're going to put it to bed and post some pictures. So see you in the next one.